impressive performances on Sky, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do pick that up.
Yeah, I definitely want both teams to look more towards a kind of double carry-centric model. I'm kind of thinking Europe is struggling a little more delivering on some of these single carry picks, unless it's something very, very dominant with maybe a lack of skill shots required to secure the victory, something like Kestrel or whatnot. But that being said,
is that a low-key Europe can't hit skill shots right there?
It was a low-key. We saw Hundor unable to hit his skill shots earlier.
I mean, he's one of the best,
and
right,
he's one of the best. And coming out of a team that's fighting for Worlds, you got to be able to land that down. So if you're nervous, if the game is on the line, find something perhaps a little bit easier to execute with, or at least have someone on your team that can help you execute, right? You don't have to be the only one.
I mean, if you're nervous, go play Rocket League. Like, let's be real. I'm just kidding. I love you guys.
Oh, man. Ryan will hear that in a little bit. So Adagio does come on the board for mousesports as first pick. Then we see the answer to that being Samuel and Lance. I still like seeing Samuel come in. Still a very, very strong pick. A lot of damage potential coming out. Causes some respect to come through. Yeah, the Black Feather is...
I feel like Black Feather into the Samuel could be pretty devastating.
So Black Feather into Samuel ideally is really, really good, right? But the issues in the past were purely just the fact that Black Feather could not come online fast enough. But with some of the recent buffs, he does tend to survive the early game a little bit better. Samuel, a little bit weaker to take off. Still really strong, but we're seeing lots of Black Feathers come out of the jungle, which separates him from that early pressure you would normally see him in lane.
It does. And he's going to get those levels up and running quick with a Fortress. If this Fortress Black Feather come online and they're running at you, that is scary.
mousesports was like, that worked really well. Let's give it a try. I'm sure they've played this before now. And Snow Tsunami picking up Vox is the last one. Pretty interesting, right? So Vox, a long time ago, did really well against Black Feather. And then it kind of reversed. And Black Feather started all of a sudden performing really well into Vox. Now we're kind of in a new patch, in a new split. And they think maybe that's the answer, to be able to stay away from the Black Feather dive and to still do damage.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, which composition are you guys favoring heading in here?
I definitely think it's easier to execute the Black Feather Adagio Fortress one, because when you're kiting away from damage and you're trying to split the priorities of who's absorbing it, that's a much more complicated task to do.
Definitely, I agree. I think mousesports better, stronger composition, a little easier to execute, as you said. Vox is a tool that can exploit mistakes in that composition, though. So if we see Black Feather engage, not really find a target, and he's overextended, it'll definitely go the way of Snow Tsunami.
All right, we're on to the fold, ladies and gentlemen. mousesports and Snow Tsunami plan to get to day 2 this weekend. Let's hand it on over to our shoutcasters.
Cheers, lads. Thank you very much. I am Excoundrel, joined by Sona, and we're into this first of the best of 3 between mousesports and Snow Tsunami. I do agree. I very much like this composition. We saw how well it worked for Gangstar's Cerberus having the Black Feather Fortress Adagio, but there's a double threat this time to worry about, so it's not quite as cut and dry as we jump on the Sky. Now you have to think about both the PT Lamb's Vox, and you also have to think about Samuel, so it might be slightly more difficult this time to get that clean win that we saw from Gangstar's Cerberus. It really depends on, like you said, if they're able to kite as effectively.
Oh, definitely. I think Mouse here have the opportunity to dive onto that backline pretty effectively. Snow Tsunami haven't really been playing to their best potentials recently, and if Sneaky can get ahead on this Black Feather, he can definitely do a lot of work and take out that box. But we have seen the opposite be true many a time. So Cisco's put some good pressure on here just to spot out Ema King and Majestic as they try and rotate through their jungle, and he steals away the Treant as well. That is big advantage there for Snow Tsunami over mousesports.
Yeah, it's definitely an advantage to take in the early game. What you will find, especially with PT Lamb having this range advantage, you won't be able to duel as Fortress Blackfeather very easily. Blackfeather really doesn't come online until post 6. So, to be honest, if Snow Tsunami are looking for somewhere to win out fights over and over again, then it's in this jungle with the Samuel and the Lance. This is where you fight now if you're going to fight in the jungle at any point.
That's exactly what they're doing. Bongman got the Treant for himself. Majestic trying to heal himself back up, but Cisco is just this tanky front line, allowing Bongman to do whatever he wants on the back. They're going to try and take Cisco down. They will get him. Bongman gets the final auto attack on to Majestic to counter that kill. Now, Ema King needs to be cautious because can't really face up into Bongman too easily. Corrupted Genius comes out. Bongman just needs another Malice of Verdict That will be a very dead fortress.
So sorry, actually, it was my mistake. It's actually Emma King and Majestic in the jungle at this point in time. Sneaky's actually in lane Blackfeather mode, having to go up against PT Lamb. That's still not easy for Blackfeather until 6th, though. Actually, post 6, he should find opportunities to win out engages and actually look for fights. So Siska's now looking for an engage onto Sneaky, and I think he's going down here, Sona. Yeah.
Not too sneaky, they will get taken out. 3-1 in favor of Snow Tsunami. And Sneaky, like, you've got the on-point shield that can help you against PT Lamb, but the problem against the Voxel is the consistent damage that's coming out, you know?
Sure.
He's just landing resonance bounces time after time after time, and it becomes very difficult to sustain through that unless you have a heal like an Adagio. And I'm actually surprised they didn't just put Majestic into the lane, because he's a little bit better into the Vox. He has the heal to keep himself sustained up, and it means that Sneaky has a little bit of an easier time trying to get up towards that level 6.
I am interested as to why he didn't go in lane, actually, Sona. I completely agree. Also, the point that the reason that Samuel wins out these early trades is because, let's be frank, the damage that comes from Adagio, just not good until he's got alternating current. And you can see here that they have to run away every single time. Emma King now doing his best impression of a chicken and running as quickly as he can away from literally everything. He's going away over these scout traps. This should be Bong Mabu picking up a kill as Emma King.
They are wasting Bong Madu's time pretty well, though. Like, he's chasing this for quite a long time, and Emma King just going to trap up the enemy jungle as well. Actually, Emma King might be able to get away from this one because PT Lamb's gone the wrong direction as well. Emma King's going to survive, and Sasiska is not. He's going to go down. So Emma King led them across. It was like a wild goose chase. You know, he said he was a bit like a chicken. Well, he's a wild goose at the moment. As Mouse able to take a kill and get their fortress out alive.
I didn't actually see what's happening there because I was focusing on that chase so much. But how did Sasiska end up going down? And why didn't he just back out?
Sasiska stayed to try and get the mid treant, like the front treant.
Right. So he took the forward
and then
treant
Majestic came down.
and he was punished for it. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Obviously, it was a small mistake to have made. You obviously want to be as aggressive and I guess as greedy as possible when you think you have an advantage like that. And unfortunately, was punished for it. And the fact that Emma King gets out alive as well is only a bonus right now to mousesports. We'll have to wait. I think alternating current will be that sort of item spike point that we need to look towards for when mousesports can actually duel and look to fight effectively. And by that point, Sneaky should be level 6. PT Lamb, though, with Emma King taking a lot of damage, he'll just have to back off the turret. And he'll have a little bit of problems with the health and damage. Looks like we have another fight. Bong Mabu.
Yep, Sasiska's going to take a huge amount of damage as well. Majestic is going to chase onto PT Lamb. It looks like Mouse should be able to get themselves out of this one. But not really much here for Sneaky until he gets that burst offensive. Does jump onto PT Lamb. Majestic gets taken low. Sasiska will get the kill with the Githian wall. They're going to turn their attentions over towards that Lance, but be so cautious before Sneaky gets that 6. He's so close as well. He's about this minion wave away, really, before he gets towards that big spike of damage and big spike of power. Could have used it a couple of seconds earlier to dive for PT Lamb.
Bong Mabu is going towards what looks to be either a Frostburn or a Shatterglass. I like Frostburn first on Samuel more than I like it on Sky into something like a Blackfeather Fortress, just because Drifting Dart, you can't avoid all of it, so you know that you're going to get some slows down at some point, and the fact that Malice and Verdi's on pretty low cooldown. You know, you can just consistently spam that ability, and you can imagine the splash damage, especially in Drifting Dark, will have some effect. So I'll be interested, but I would imagine with the CP nerfs to Samuel that if you just want to try and match a flat damage output that you had previously, sometimes you might go Shatterglass. He actually is going to go for the Frostburn, so that's why I do like it a little bit more here for Bong Mabu. Drifting Dark going the kiting way, though, and we've got to fight.
Yes, this is going to get jumped on. He's dead. There's the Oblivion. Majestic does get caught up. Sneaky looking for a bit more damage here. Rose Offensive not off cooldown yet. He's going to chase out Bong Mabu. That's the name. And he will take him down. Now PT Lab's going to fall as well. It should be the ace here for mousesports. They pick up all 3 kills and turn the game around.
Yeah, couple of things there. I understand the idea for Bong Mabu. She wanted to use the Drifting Dark to move backwards and kite. By that point, I think that was kind of out the window. Kiting was never going to be on the cards. I think you were in damage control mode. So I personally would have sent Drifting Dark towards the enemy team, especially having just picked up the Frostburn. That might have bought you enough time to try and get as many people out as possible, and then you just sort of exit as quickly as you can. You may have lost one member, but you wouldn't have got the clean ace potentially. And that's now a big swing in favour over to mousesports, and this is kind of what Fuji was saying, this easy to execute composition where there's very few mistakes that you can actually make. Compared to the Snow Tsunami composition where, you know, it's difficult to know how to kite properly, or where to kite properly, or even, you know, what kind of focus you should be having. So mousesports kind of have this one prerogative, which is Black Feather does damage, Fortress jumps in, everything happens, we kill people. Whereas there's a lot more factors to consider for Snow Tsunami, and right now they haven't found the right combination to win out again in a full-on team fight versus mousesports.
Haven't quite worked out how to do it properly yet. There's a 1,000 gold lead for mousesports here. Bong Mabu not really able to do a huge amount of work on this Samuel yet, but late game Samuel is incredibly powerful. And after he gets his next item, probably a broken myth, I have to expect that Bong Mabu will be in a much more powerful position against mousesports here.
I totally agree. Bong Mabu definitely needing more items in the bank than the Frostburn. You just don't have a massive damage output with that, unfortunately. And with the CP scaling nerfs to Samuel as well, you are going to feel like you'll be doing considerably less than you might have felt Samuel was doing, especially now that Blackfeather's come back in and these defensive itemization options have to be considered for something like Samuel. You won't be hitting as hard. You know, you may be relying on PT Lamb with this double Tyrant's Monocle build to be the one. He's actually picked up is that a barbed needle he's picked up there?
Yep.
Maybe just wanting the direct lifesteal for the sustain. Might not actually end up finishing that anytime soon, because he looks like he's going to go for that classic breaking point into double Tyrant's Monocle, but the lifesteal probably just there because he knows how important it's going to be in keeping himself alive as much as possible.
So it's a 50-50 vote for the fans between these two teams. Snow Tsunami and mousesports have nothing to separate them, according to everyone watching out in the stratosphere. And on Earth as well, you know, not only people in the stratosphere. In fact, I'd be impressed if many people are watching in the stratosphere, 'cause that's pretty high up.
Yeah, I mean, you never know, dude. Could be
Someone on a
enjoying that airplane Wi-Fi that you can get. I've watched a bit of Twitch via airplane Wi-Fi on low quality before, so you know we could have people up there or thereabouts, my friend. So don't rule that one out completely.
Well, Mouse will be on cloud 9 if they can win out this series versus Snow. They really need to be able to get back.
America, mate.
Oh, yeah. No Tsunami now on the back foot. Sneaky's going to step forward, wait for it comes out. He's going to try and put the damage down to Cisco. Rose offensive does come down, but mousesports not able to get what they want out of this fight. They will retreat for now and look for the re-engage in just a minute. They're going to have a second stack on Rose offensive in about 10 seconds or so. That's probably what they're looking for.
I think Fuji will be cringing in just watching that last engage. He talked specifically about the fact that he doesn't really trust roam lances to make a big impact in the later stages of the game because they need to hit their skill shots. You need to hit Impale to have an effect as a roam lance. And well, Sisiska fell flat on his face, couldn't even hit Sneaky that was right in front of him there from that previous engage. So Sisiska's got to step it up with his positioning of these skill shots. If he can start landing more Impales, providing a little bit of peeling for his team, because he is the only person that's peeling for his team. There was a little bit of peeling coming out from that Frostburn, obviously from Bong Mabu. She has the ability to slow down the opposing members, but Sisiska realistically is going to be doing most of the legwork when it comes to protecting his team from this Blackfeather, which, to be honest, with that Rose offensive, could prove to be moderately difficult.
Definitely could be very difficult, mate. You say moderately, I think it's going to be a really difficult thing for them to be able to do in these fights. Now, Wartread's finished on towards Cisco. He's got the fountain as well, so going for that engage. If you can't hit skill shots, just run as quickly as you can to the enemy team and hope that something connects at the end. That's the good thing about Githyan War, you know, it's a cone. You got a bit of space to work with that. It's not like a lance, it's just a straight line.
Absolutely. So, mousesports definitely in a dominating position right now. They've got a small gold lead, about 2,000 in the bank. Well, I wouldn't say that's small, that's actually quite considerable. Emma King now, he's looking for an engage. He smells blood and he's going in.
That he is. They're going to look for the engage here. Attack of the Pack has been used. Majestic caught up underneath the turret. Wait for it comes out and Majestic's dead. The fountain way too late. Not able to keep Majestic alive. And now PT Lamb, Siska and Bong Mabu are looking for the chase. They haven't got the War Treads. It's already been used and they've just got the ability to push towards this turret. Sneaky going to try and clear this out with the on points. Might even use a Rose offensive if he has to. But Snow Tsunami decide they don't want that turret yet and will back away down towards the shop and just buy themselves a few tasty items on their tracks.
And Goldmine is starting to stack up now, Snow Tsunami. Looks like Mouse and Emma King, they're looking to try and punish once more. Emma King, though, he's been a little bit over-aggressive here. That Frostbone's starting to slow. The heal comes through, but I think he's dead, Sona.
He definitely is. Majestic's the next target. He's going to channel the burst. Oblivion comes down, but he's dead. And that's the Goldmine pounding away on Bongmabu as well. Has to use a fountain to keep himself alive, but another couple of kills. Actually, at the moment, we're going to see Sneaky take out this tower. This turret will be destroyed, and now he's going to try and turn on towards PT Lamb. Does go in with the Rose offensive. Wait for it. Knocked out by the Githia wall. PT Lamb's dead, and now Sisiska's in a world of hurt as well. Bongmabu decides he can't fight up against Sneaky for now, and we'll just back away. I apologise. I think Bongmabu's a woman, isn't she? I apologise for saying he.
It's okay. I think the analysts were also in a position where they weren't quite sure either. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Bongmabu is a woman. So we'll make sure we keep our gender roles correct here, Sona.
Yeah, well, we'll try.
We'll try. Sometimes
it's always difficult to get a gender role right if you don't know the gender.
Exactly. I actually sometimes just refer to the gender of the hero being played. So
okay, yeah, that's what I usually do. But sometimes people get insulted when, either way, it's a woman playing a male hero, or a man playing a woman hero, and it's just a bit. Anyway, doesn't matter. Man. I think he's going to take these fronts. 6 kills to 7. Very close game between these two teams. Still a gold lead for Mouse. They'll clear out these scout traps as well. Sneaky tried to dodge that one out. Wasn't able to. Takes a little bit of damage, but with his Serpent's Mask, will be able to heal that back up.
Will indeed. Serpent's Mask. Obviously super important to Black Feathers, and with the breaking point too, he'll be healing quite readily, especially the longer these fights go. mousesports are looking to try and pull the trigger on many opportunities as they can. Got a lot of pressure in this jungle. There's massive items being fished. Actually, Sneaky goes in again after Sisiska uses the Impale.
They're looking for the fight. Burst comes down from Majestic, but not going to catch anyone out. We'll get the Treant for his troubles. They need to wait for these big cooldowns to be back up. There's no Rose offensive for Sneaky. There's no Burst for Majestic. There's no Attack of the Pack for Ema King. And the Snow Tsunami know that and are looking for something if they can get there. They've got the Oblivion, got the Engage, but they decide they want to back away. Not going to go for these fights just quite yet.
Yeah, they're just trying to hold on to things, trying to control Kraken area as well, as it is now 5 seconds post her spawning, and she will be started off by mousesports here. And they must know, Snow Tsunami must have an idea, and I think they do. They are going to start to mount an offensive, but are they going to be too slow? It is going down moderately quickly at this point in time.
Kraken is going down very quickly now. They don't know. They've got no idea. It's just going to get taken here by Mouse. And there's only 3 turrets between the base and Mouse winning the game. That Kraken can push through those very quickly. There are some good. There's some good clear. You've got the Vox, you've got the Samuel that will clear through Kraken relatively fast, but Mouse will always be looking for the engage. They'll always be positioning aggressively here as that Kraken starts to push down the base of Snow Tsunami.
That's really interesting why they didn't... well, I mean, you must assume, as soon as the enemy team disappears at 15 minutes, there's only going to be one thing on your mind, and that's Kraken. Snow Tsunami were very slow to react to that, and like they almost weren't sure, they were afraid of a bait. A lot of that comes down to their lack of vision control in that area, because they just haven't been able to, as a team, get towards Kraken area much. Majestic does get locked up here, but isn't punished for it. He doesn't go down Sona, and the rest of Mouse are going in.
That they are. First kill on towards Sisiska. They're going to take the turret as well. Majestic needs to heal himself up. They do have the fountain available as well if it comes to it. Mouse with that Kraken are going to look for these crystal turrets. 2 turrets between them and game 1 in this series. The first is going to fall so quickly that PT Lam and Bongmabu cannot defend it. Sneaky goes in with the Rose offensive. Needs to be a bit cautious though, because Oblivion's going to come down and connect onto him. He'll fall. The turret will fall as well. Now it's up to Majestic to try and take down this crystal. He gets a lot of damage down to it with the burst. The Kraken's going to continue to pound away at the crystal. It's probably 2 auto attacks away. Can Snow Tsunami take it down? One more will not quite be enough.
No!
What is that crystal?
That's 1%
There's nothing.
HP on the vein crystal.
That is
and it's going to start to
nothing.
regenerate. Goodness gracious.
I don't understand it.
Goodness gracious, Kraken.
What was that?
You had one job. One job, Kraken.
Seriously, Kraken, like, if he'd eaten one more Weetabix, he would have taken that down.
I don't know whether that came off cooldown during the end of that fight, but he could have potentially used that had it been available to block the Oblivion. I can't remember if it was up during the Oblivion. My suspicion is that he'd used it previously, which makes the most sense. But mousesports, they're not going to rest on their laurels. They know that they can just try and go in and go straight for the Vein Crystal, and looks like that's what they're going to do. Majestic buying time soda, they're just going.
Oh, that burst was huge! Burst was absolutely massive. Oblivion's going to come out, and actually, we're going to see the first kill go for Snow Tsunami. Ema King, he's just going to go for it. What? Snow, can they defend? Can Ema King take it down? It's back to full HP. Yes, yes, they can. I did not realise it was back to full HP.
We got a little bit excited there, but
I did.
No.
Back to full HP, guys. It's an ace. Snow Tsunami defend their base once again. 13 kills to 7. 20 kills in total, but the difference between these two teams is only 1,000 gold, and that's because 5 turrets have fallen for Snow Tsunami, whereas we've yet to see any of mousesports' base crack at all.
It's funny that you say the 1,000 gold is the difference. Snow Tsunami have the gold lead.
Yeah.
And they haven't taken any turrets.
I know. It's still the difference, though. I mean, Snow Tsunami have a lot more standing gold on the map, a lot more acquirable gold.
Yeah, it's just because the comeback gold in Vainglory is huge, and Snow Tsunami with those 2 clean aces, they pick off bounties, they get a little bit of comeback gold going their way, they take out the Kraken. They're now in the lead in terms of gold, kind of like flat gold amount, and actually Kraken has been at least...
Sneaky's being sneaky. Sneaky's being sneaky. He's going for it. Scout Trap did catch him. Did it? Did it? Is he sneaky enough? Bong Mabu? Sneaky? He's going to get spotted by PT Lamb. He wasn't sneaky enough, guys. Not living up to his name, goes in with the Rose offensive attack. The pack is being used though. PT Lamb with the reflex. Now Sneaky gets knocked into the wall. So much pain coming out. The burst as well will not connect because of a great Oblivion on towards the backline. Kraken's going to continue to push in, but Sneaky he's not got Rose offensive. He can't get onto that backline yet. Majestic goes low. PT Lamb going to fall though. That's the first blood. And now Bong Mabu is the target of Sneaky and Emo King. Great impale on towards both members. Great Githian wall as well. Emo King not going to be able to get away from Sasiska, is he? Oh no, he's not. 16 kills to 8. Kraken pushing in still. Ace buff minions going to help out as well.
Oh, mousesports, what are you doing?
Bong Mabu had, it was, Sneaky almost had it. Sneaky almost had it.
Yeah, no, I mean, but they're just funneling in on this one-track idea that their only win condition at this point is to literally try and rush the base, sneak the base. I mean, if I was going to do that as a Blackfeather, you can Rose offensive over the wall. I probably would have just tried to get through the jungle somehow instead of running up through lane where I've got to play hide and seek with the enemy lane minions.
That's what they would expect. It's not sneaky enough, man.
Oh,
you've got to channel your sneaky.
Of course, but now it's got to a point where you're at late game, right? You've got huge damage coming out of PT Lamb and Bong Mabu. There is actually just 2 damage items for Sneaky. Majestic is starting to struggle to have his damage output as well. With all of the defensive itemization build-up, actually, Snow Tsunami are coming away ahead in these fights because it is that dual threat. Like I said, it's not that one-track it's not that one-track sort of team fight prerogative for mousesports. They actually need to make decisions about who they want to focus, and they aren't bursting them.
Sneaky's going for this. Sneaky's going for this. He's just going for it. He's a man-moding. He's going to go for the kill. Ema King has used Attack of the Pack already. Bong Mabu and PT Lamb are going to try and get back. So Siska's already gone back, just about to base. PT Lamb going to get caught out. Ema King, no, not quite able to stop him. That's big. It means, though, they can try and flank Bong Mabu, and Majestic's going to come in from the backside. Bong Mabu tries to back away, but Majestic is here. Oblivion comes out. His reflex blocked, and Bong Mabu's dead. That was great by Mouse. They realised the situation. They changed their priorities, and they take down a member of Snow Tsunami.
And what's really important is if they have enough time for the Kraken respawn, which will be soon enough, maybe they won't have enough time with Bong Mabu, they could potentially take Kraken and just win the game outright. They're thinking that the 3 versus 2 rush with just PT Lamb alive should be enough for them. Here comes Attack of the Pack. They're going to go in.
This is minimally sneaky at best, but they're looking for it. Sneaky, he gets knocked towards the crystal. They're going to have to try and take down that Blackbird. The burst comes out to lock up Cisco. Good Crucible will stop it, and the crystal's going to fall. It's going to be game 1 to mousesports over Snow Tsunami.
Wow, what an ending. They actually managed to pull off the split play onto Snow Tsunami, and the most important part there was that essentially, like you called it, Bong Mabu isolated and taken out because everybody else from Snow Tsunami had backed off to deal with this Blackfeather, who didn't actually end up committing. Just he made it look like he was committing, and it put the fear in Snow Tsunami's hearts, and they end up getting that rush win on the base. After 3 times attempting it, they had it a little bit more calculated than just run at them, and they actually forced some decisions from Snow Tsunami. So a really good game.
Really good game indeed. We're going to hand it back across towards our analyst to break it down. But I look forward to the second game between these teams, because if it's anywhere near as action-packed as that, it's going to be a blast.
Thank you very much, guys. It was interesting. The same comp that Gangstars played earlier, but actually, I feel like that end play was almost the inverse of using the Wolves. It was using people to stop the recalls, and then you kind of pretend you're going to go push, and you don't actually do it.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty messy. I think, like, you don't actually have to do that, and it's really risky to try to push and just rush the base, because you saw like they made a few mistakes. That's bounties you're giving over. That's quite a few things. I mean, honestly, they could have stopped it again if Tsunami wouldn't have been just mispositioned. Like we saw that the Samuel was actually like a little bit in a weird spot, pretty far forward, while one person went back to defend. I'm not sure why Samuel was the kind of staying out and more easily jumped on by the Fortress.
The problem is also when you're the only one on your team that appears to be having like a decent game, you really have to stay alive and make plays in every fight. The moment you die, you're like, all right, we just lost.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. We went from you couldn't even see the health bar on the Vein Crystal to pushing down multiple turrets, getting Kraken. They were trying to fight back into it, and they were doing a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I don't know how much practice we actually see mousesports having on this trio. It's obviously very strong, but they did show that it isn't simply just roll your face against the iPad and win. You still have to execute it to some extent. You still have to actually play it correctly, or else other teams will defend.
Now that you've got multi-touch, you could kind of use your forehead and your nose or something.
I could use my forehead pretty easily. Yeah, I might hit too many things with multi-touch, though, using my head.
You got the entire screen covered.
I do.
Anyway, before we digress too much, dare I say that this is kind of like a traditional mouse sports game, though? They always push these games to ridiculous points. There's always Krakens nearly killing things and bases being raced. I feel like that's kind of to mouse sports' detriment and benefit. They thrive in chaos, but when they're against a good team who really knows how to deal with the kind of chaos that mousesports creates, I don't think it works so well.
The funny part is none of the original members are actually really around. But somehow, as they've brought on players, they learned these habits. They've stuck with them. I don't know.
Your onboarding included chaos training.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. I would sign up for that.
Yeah, I would.
Chaos training would be fun. We're ready for the draft of the second game of this series. Snow Tsunami are behind right now. mousesports looking to close out this series and move forward to day 2. Both teams that last split were towards the bottom of the brackets. This is a good opportunity for one of them to really pull ahead in the standings. So you can bet that both of them are really going to be trying hard here. Snow Tsunami, they're getting rid of the Adagio. mousesports do not want to deal with the Kestrel. And a Lyra first pick coming out of Snow.
Yeah, we're seeing Kestrel bans left and right. Not too surprising. The game that she did get through today had a really dominant performance coming out of the side of Hundor earlier this morning. But we haven't seen her since then. Do have the Lyra coming through as first pick. Pretty easy to build a comp around.
Yeah.
Pretty easy to take away from the enemy. A lot of priority still put on this roam. We don't really ever see her transitioning, at least in Europe, to that lane carry position, though, so not too much mystery around the pick.
This is interesting. Go ahead and pair that Lance up with the Blackfeather right together. I mean, what are your thoughts there?
Just whose sword is longer? I guess we'll have to figure it out, because they both have quite the ability to gap close and get on top of people.
Look, I mean, it's about how you use it. Jinx. Oh! There you go. Sastiska ready to start to round out this composition. It's going to be the Vox. So much priorities put on this Vox lately. I mean, I wonder, when I see this much Vox, are people still figuring out the meta, figuring out what's working for them? Because this feels like the comfort pick that people go back to.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it is a comfort pick. Obviously very strong in that essence. I mean, Gwen being released, you might think that perhaps Vox is a good pick into her in ranked and in practice. So perhaps there's a lot of people getting back onto this pick and kind of bringing it out here just simply because it is someone that they've been playing quite a bit outside of the Evil 8 space.
Oh. Speaking of evil, CP Ringo on the horizon?
Don't do it to me.
Do it to me, baby.
I don't want
Lock it in.
It is Ringo. Okay, look, I don't actually. So the comp that they have here, I'm a bit of a bigger fan of having the CP Ringo, if that is the choice, simply just because Lance can go in with Blackfeather a little bit better and can protect
jungle?
Ringo a bit better as well.
This is a jungle Ringo? I mean, if they're playing the same positions they did before, this could be pretty cool.
It could
be.
I don't know. We'll have to figure it out.
And hey, look, I was kind of I was being a little jokey about it before, but I mean, honestly, if he gets into the jungle, what do you think about Stormcrown Ringo?
What I think about it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely a great way to be able to still farm. I mean, you can't argue with the damage it outputs.
If he's going CP, right? Like it's your objective taking, it's true damage, it's everything across the board. It builds into that kit.
If you're gonna put CP Ringo in the jungle, why the heck not put Stormcrown on him as well?
That's right. I like it, Fuji.
You jinxed me earlier, and you never let me get... All right, fine, I'll just take it then. Snow Tsunami up against mousesports. mousesports leading 1-0 right now. Let's pass it on over to our shoutcasters yet again. It's Scoundrel and Sona.
Yet again, sounds like it's a chore to hand over there, Jackson. But it is Scoundrel and Sona taking you into this second game. Can mousesports do it again with this Blackfeather for Sneaky, who has taken it to the jungle this time, Sona? So we are going to see Ringo versus Vox, that classic matchup where Ringo traditionally has the advantage.
Oh, definitely. And I think it's a little bit surprising to see Ringo in the lane, actually, with Majestic playing it, because usually we'd see Majestic, he is a jungler, and we'd see Sneaky going into the lane. So actually, like, Sneaky just did its first rotation and backed away straight away here, and they're just going to allow a little bit of pressure here from Sasiska, because Majestic has to reposition to keep himself away from that Lyra.
He does indeed, Sona. So, what are you thinking here, buddy? What are you thinking about these compositions? Not just in general. I know I like to think what you're thinking in general anyway, but these compositions, what's your idea behind them?
Whenever you ask me this, you're giving yourself time to think of it yourself and see what I say about it as well. So Siska's actually going to get caught out here. Good Githyan wall by King. So Sneaky tries to dive the backline. We've always seen, Vox, if he plays well, can get away from that Blackfeather. I like the Sky pick as well because I think it allows you a bit of zonal control against the Blackfeather. If this were me, I think you go CP Ringo, you go weapon power Blackfeather, and then you mitigate the fact that your team's going to be pretty split in fights. So you just Hellfire Brew, and then allow the Blackfeather to try and get onto that backline. What we see coming out from Snow Tsunami is the zone control that means the Blackfeather's always going to be split from the rest of his team, but Mouse don't care too much that Sneaky's going to be on that backline and the rest of the team are going to be quite a long way away. They build a composition that actually works that way, rather than relying on being able to follow up the Blackfeather. King actually might fall here. Did not play that well at all. Mr. Githyan wall gets taken out. Now Majestic's going to try and rotate onto Bong Mabu, but doesn't have anywhere near enough damage to take on a Sky at the moment, nor does Sneaky, who takes a full barrage to the face. And Snow Tsunami pick up a first kill early on.
I forgot I was still casting this game, Sona. Thought it was just you for a second.
Sometimes I just do both jobs, I get a little bit bored. You do it as well. With both of us, you just want to sneak a little bit of extra stuff in.
While you bought me enough time, that was great. Thanks, buddy. I just like to hear your thoughts because it adds to the discussion a little bit. For instance, one thing I'd like to point out: Bong Mabu, quite well known for her Sky player. If you're going to pick a particular hero that Bong Mabu has been noted for, it is the Sky. And she looks like a kill does go over again to Snow Tsunami. They pick off Sneaky this time, have a quick 2-0 early against mousesports. King not content with killing and get away for free, so takes a little forward camp away here. We are going to see the Crystal Power Ringo. So going towards, looks a little bit of energy regeneration, picked up a heavy prism, so could be going towards multiple different options here. And with the non-inclusion of a Swift Shooter, I imagine that he might go down the way that Humanist has been talking about, which is just straight into that Shatterglass build, which I like a lot more. It just provides you a little bit more flat burst. Bong will be the target. It looks like the Sneaky and Mouse are trying to go in.
Yes, King's gone very low. Siska's there as well. Bong Mabu trying to get herself away from this one. Will get caught out by Sneaky. One more jump in. The on point's enough. There's a dead Sky. Now Majestic needs to be a bit cautious because BT Lamb is just around the corner. Does do a huge amount of work. BT Lamb actually absolutely melting through Majestic. Will be able to get himself back though. And now King and Sneaky once again spot out Sasiska, who's very happy just to trade straight into King, who missed that Impale. Will use the Imperial Citrus to speed herself up. Will get slowed down though by the Achilles shot. Sasiska allowing PT Lamb to get the flank off. King's gonna fall here. PT Lamb could jump in. Majestic trying to do what he can, but CP Ringo doesn't have the damage at this point. Sneaky saw one kill in response. Gonna see if he can get to Cisco as well. He's gone so deep to try and take this out. Just one more auto is enough. Can he fight up into Bong Mabu as well? Forward barrage not going to connect. Sneaky decides he wants to aggro that Treant instead. If he can steal this, he wins out the fight, but I think Bong Mabu should be enough. No, Sneaky steals it. Now, Bong Mabu trying to keep up with the fight. Sneaky taking a huge amount of pain, trying to turn it around. Forward barrage to the face. Eventually, Bong Mabu takes the kill.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be completely fair there. Even if Sneaky picked off the Treant, he was spending too long just running away. He had a lot of heartthrob stacks built up. If he just started to try and go aggressive, there might have been the opportunity to win that in a 1v1. Looks like we are going to see Shatterglass CP Ringo, which, again, I am also on board with Humanist in this. I much prefer it. If you're looking to play a burst strategy, if you're looking to just have flat amount of damage with a Black Feather, much prefer the Shatterglass build, because the points that the Analyst X pointed out earlier, you can't catch up to the action as a CP Ringo very quickly. So what's better? You landing basic attacks with the alternating current, or just getting a massive, big-hitting Hellfire Brew, and then relying on the rest of your abilities in terms of just some flat burst damage? I much prefer this particular Ringo build when you're looking to completely blow someone up. But this is another sort of problem that I think mousesports are going to face. It's kind of like you have to pick one target. Is it going to be PT Lamb on this Fox, or is it going to be Bong Mabu on this Sky? They actually lock up PT Lamb here. Good Githian wall.
Great Githian wall, but PT Lamb should get taken out. No, will be able to get himself out of the fight, and mousesports looking for their way back into this game. It's a slight lead, an incredibly slight lead. It's only 100 gold between these two teams, but Snow Tsunami do have those couple of extra kills. A lot of that lead sitting in CS, although Majestic's only a few CS ahead of PT Lamb at the moment, so going to get jumped on once again by King, who is doing a good job of landing these impales, but not doing the best of jobs of protecting Majestic. And it is a Frostburn start as well for Bong Mabu, so she's trying to keep herself safe against this Black Feather.
I'm not going to go on to the sort of rant about the Frostburn first and Sky in this particular matchup.
Oh, wait for it!
Wow.
Didn't wait for it, man. King goes down, picks up the fountain to get straight back to base. Could have used that a couple of seconds ago as well as Majestic, who just stood under tower and took an entire forward barrage to the face. That was pretty dumb.
He was casting Hellfire Brews, so took a 1-for-1 in that particular situation. Sneaky coming in here is a little bit behind in terms of levels compared to Bong Mabu. Going to try and protect this turret as much as possible, but a lot of damage going to be coming down here for Snow Tsunami. Can Sneaky defend this by himself?
I think he can. Bong Mabu's going to back away. He's got King just around the corner now as well, so shouldn't be too concerned about that one. And we've seen how much work Sneaky can do late game already this series on this Black Feather. If he can get off the good Rose offensives once again, he can definitely start to take down these Snow Tsunami members. Their issue's going to be there's good wave clear coming out from the side of Snow Tsunami, so they can just wave clear under the turret. And Mouse need to try and draw out Snow somehow to get them in a position where they can actually take these fights.
Yeah, no, taking the turret and opening up the lane to have more sort of room to play with is incredibly important when you've got things like Black Feather and Lance. You want to have the most area to work with, so you can just try and negotiate around these big, hard-hitting ranged carries, especially with that Frostburn. Now, Frostburn on Sky actually slightly better, because there isn't a fortress, obviously. Without the fortress, it makes that Frostburn a little bit more effective. You can land more of this. Because you see here, King, he's far weaker to this Frostburn, and he will take a lot of damage first. Not going to go down in the end, though, there, Sona.
It takes a huge amount of damage. That Frostburn is so powerful into a Lance. He had to use the fountain at the end as well, and they will lose their first turret of the game. Sneaky late to the party once again. I think vampires, with all of their time, all of that immortality, would be able to, arrive at things on time, but obviously not very good at keeping track of where he needs to be on the Halcyon Fold at any given time.
No, indeed not. Majestic. The problem is right now for mousesports, they always seem to get caught out on the engage when they just are not spending time together. They're not like trying to group up and try and make team fights happen. So individually, they're getting caught out 2 versus 3 or something similar along those lines. And that's a big issue. Oh my word, Hellfire Brew comes through.
Absolutely huge. That's what they need to do. Take down PT Lamb straight away. They're going to dive onto Cisco as well. Sneaky, low on HP, but happy enough just to get that extra damage down with the on point. The big lead, or once again for Mouse, a big kill for them as they take down PT Lamb. He hasn't got a huge amount of shield yet either. He's only sitting on that light shield, so not in the best of positions to keep himself alive through a Shatterglass Hellfire Brew.
Indeed, Sona. Now, one of the other things that we need to look at is there is actually a Shiver Steel here for Sneaky, something that is slightly off a couple of the other builds that we've seen from Black Feathers. It does mean he's delayed a lot of his straight-up damage. He's only sitting on a Needle and a Blazing Salvo, so no Breaking Point, no Serpent's Mask right now for Sneaky, who is at 4 and 2. But will have that ability to slow down targets like Bongmabu and PT Lamb, which seem to be important here, especially with the fact that you've gone a flat CP build from the Ringo, and you saw the difference in burst between the alternating current Ringo and the flat Shatterglass Ringo actually does allow them to instantaneously blow up a target. So that's very important for Mouse here, and it's a slightly different twist on the CP Ringo Blackfeather composition that we saw, and the build seems to be the crux of the reason that they're having at least success in that aspect of their play. It's not meaning that they are coming out on top in general, but it is giving them a slight success in just in that area of play.
Definitely they're going to go for the engage as well. Majestic trying to get himself out of it, but not able to keep himself alive. Great catch there by Snow Tsunami as they jump in with the Arcane Passage. Mouse now have to try and defend this turret as they wait for their laner to respawn. They've got great engage, but they have nothing to disengage these fights if the Lance isn't there with that Githian wall to try and keep Snow Tsunami away.
Absolutely. So now it looks like mousesports. What are they waiting for? Are they waiting for Sneaky to pick up some more weapon power here, so he has a little bit better damage output? Obviously, with the on point getting that weapon power buff in 123. Is this kind of where they're going to be waiting for? I imagine so. I think that they don't want to fight until they're absolutely sure that if they commit, they're going to get something from it, because they can't sort of dilly-dally around. If you dilly-dally and don't commit, you're in a position where, to be completely frank, you just get beaten by what Snow Tsunami are bringing to the table here. So mousesports probably waiting for a key item spike that means that they're absolutely guaranteed sort of a winning play.
But that's definitely the intention, but the problem is I just think Snow Tsunami have this one. Like they've got far enough ahead. They've got Broken Myth finished onto Bongmabu. You've got PC Lamb with a double 6 sins, which is a very odd build in all honesty, but Breaking Point into double 6 sins is not something you commonly see. Actually, he's finished one into a Timeless Monocle. There we go. That makes a lot more sense to me. Double 6 sins.
A lot more sense, my friend. Emma King, Mouse, Majestic, they are going to get engaged on. Oh my word, a heavy engage.
Arcane Passage, Majestic's dead. He just melts before he can even do anything in these fights. As soon as they get onto him, there's no way that he survives. And even with a reflex block, even with a fountain coming out to try and heal him up as well, it wasn't enough. Bongmabu able to tank up that tower so that PT Lamb could pick up the kill. And it's 10 kills to 5, and Snow Tsunami looking to equalize this series at 1-1.
What is happening here is, and it's very sensible from Snow Tsunami, and actually really cool to see them do so, is basically knowing that the Hellfire Brew is with this Crystal Power Ringo build, is kind of that ability that defines the fight for mousesports. So by jumping in whenever Ringo seems exposed, everybody piling in there and just killing him instantly. It's not like he can kite with the alternating current build. He has to either sit there and channel Hellfire Brew, or he just sits there being useless. And they are basically taking Ringo completely out of the fight with the way that they are aggressing with this Lyra. And Sisiska, PT Lamb, and Bongmabu aren't too bothered about getting into range of Blackfeather, who's only got a Shiver Steel at this point in time. Blowing up Ringo, meaning that he never gets to cast Hellfire Brew, and the damage just isn't there from mousesports if they don't get to have those specific abilities in play.
Oh, definitely. They're big damage, and we talked about this in Pick and Ban. It's just after Pick and Ban is the ability to Hellfire Brew and then have the Blackfeather jumping onto the backline. If you don't get a Blackfeather off, if you don't get the Hellfire Brew off, there's nothing you're doing. And once again, they just jump onto Majestic. That's their entire focus. And now Mouse are going to look to turn this one around. There's the Hellfire Brew onto Bongmabu. Here comes Sneaky as well. Tries to come in with the Rose Offensive. Not able to get on towards that Sky. But Sisiska taking a huge amount of hurt. And they're going to turn their attention to the Bongmabu as well. Bounty comes out. Majestic against PT Lamb. It's a 1v1. And PT Lamb wins it out. However, he can't beat out the Ema King, who is the Ema King and the Ema Queen. So he takes down a PT Lamb. 1-for-1 trade. Royalty for mousesports, and Snow Tsunami having to back themselves away. Imperial Soldier comes out. Sneaky not able to get much more damage down. Doesn't have a Rose Offensive stack available. Will just slow down for now.
I understand that was a sort of the play that you can see that there's definitely that tunnel vision play that they want to make, but they made it under turret there, so unfortunately had to contend with both the turret and the rest of mousesports, and it came out 1-for-1. But despite it being 1-for-1, it still looked like, with the healing coming through, that Snow Tsunami were in the better position to have to try and fight. So honestly, mousesports kind of feel like they're stuck in a rut at this point in time. Serpent's Mask has been finished for Sneaky now, so at least he's got a tier 3 item completed. But if Majestic is being focused every single time like that, I think he's going to start to struggle heavily. I definitely think Travel Boots, tier 3 movement speed, is going to be a priority for him, or at least being able to reflex block something that Lyra is throwing down. As long as he can get out of that bright bulwark, there is a chance that he survives. So just make sure he has the ability to just escape as quickly as possible. Tier 3 boots could be the answer that he needs.
No Tsunami looking for the engages once again. They've shown time after time their plan is to jump on towards Majestic, and if they can take him down, it's very, very effective for them.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, Sona. Sneaky here, clearing out some of the wave. Everything is being controlled by Snow Tsunami right now, though, so you can see that gold lead is now almost up to 3,500. And they've got good control over everywhere in this jungle, including the Kraken pit too. Now, mousesports don't want to face check this, because if you face check an area of poor vision, you just allow that sort of surprise Lyra portal to come out and Majestic to be targeted again. They need to be, fighting in clear vision areas where they know if Majestic is under threat, and they know they can get him out if they absolutely need to.
Definitely, they're going to look for this fight. There's no Tsunami catching out Sneaky and King. Here's the Hellfire brew from Majestic onto PT Lamb. That's huge. PT Lamb goes so low, he's dead. He's fallen from the fray already. Now Bong Mabu needs to try and carry this fight for Snow Tsunami. He's backing away as quickly as he can, but there's 2 turrets there. Bong Mabu gets knocked into the wall. Majestic doing work, and that's another kill for them. Sasiska, the last man standing for Snow Tsunami, has no escape whatsoever. Majestic will take him out. It's an ace for Mouse, as PT Lamb fell very early in the fight.
Oh, you can see the difference it has when they can channel a free Hellfire Brew. You can get Twirling Silver and Achilles shot down, and actually CP Ringo has an impact. It looks like mousesports have figured out exactly what they need to do to keep Majestic alive, and that is just, if they're saying, well, if you're looking to fight and engage, well, we'll just engage before you can do so. And by that time, they were so worried and sort of caught up with dealing with Sneaky and Emma King, who was sat right in the middle of their team fight, that by the time they even made the decision to portal with Lyra, Majestic had already channeled a very good Hellfire Brew and already landed a couple of shots at his Twirling Silver, and especially it was the target that first entered out the portal too, so it made it a lot easier. There's the Hellfire Brew again. PT Lamb, oh my word, he's probably dead.
He is dead indeed. Ema King got caught out in the death from above as well. Misses the Impale. Looked almost like it connected, but Bong Mabu able to sidestep that one sneakily, as Sneaky is sidestepping all the damage from that poor barrage. Now the Kraken's going to start pushing in. We see Sneaky and Majestic have gone down towards the shop. Ema King gets himself out alive. It's a clockwork for Majestic, going pure out damage on this Ringo. He's going to try and enforce some of that damage onto Bong Mabu. Does have the death from above, does have the Sui Strike, does have the damage, but doesn't have the life points. And that's another dead member of Snow Tsunami. Now, Sasiska is able to take down one, but Mouse should be able to chase him down. The Kraken's pushing in. Sasiska, oh, that was gorgeous! Dodges through the arcane.
Arcane level jukes coming out from Sasiska there.
That was great. That was wonderful to watch.
That was very, very good. Now PT Lamb with the reflex block. He looks like he's in a fighting position. Sneaky, I have no idea what just happened there, but I think it was a Rose offensive.
Away. Yeah, but he's dead. Doesn't get himself away. Now the Kraken's got to get 2 turrets out of this, so it is gold effective anyway. But Snow Tsunami will be happy enough they were able to clear up Sneaky and Majestic before much more damage was done.
Yeah. All this has done is opened up the most of the Halcyon Fold now for fights to take place. Previously, obviously, the majority of Mouse were constricted to just the areas where they had control of, which was that singular area sort of past their tier 1 turret. And now they've opened up the side of the map that is Snow Tsunamis, and they can look to make fights happen in the jungle. Because, to be completely honest, fighting in the jungle is completely fine for mousesports, because Lance loves to fight in areas where there is some sort of wall to get Githyan Wall into, or some sort of structure, as well as a sort of smaller area so Impale becomes more effective. And as long as Majestic can remain safe and get these Hellfire Brews off, they seem to have that slight edge, and a lot of it is down to this build that you're seeing coming out from Majestic, who's actually picked up the alternating current eventually, so he's kind of gone to a mix of both, but made sure his burst in the early game was... his burst in the early game was the more important thing. Now he's got that kind of sustained damage with the alternating current too.
Definitely good damage coming out from that alternating current. Question is how effective it's going to be if he gets taken down straight away, and the answer to that is nothing. He's got no armor at all. He's got no shield at all. He's sitting on a reflex block. That's all. He's got max health. It's like, fine, but as soon as PT Lam gets on top of you, as soon as Bongmabu gets on top of you, you're dead.
But
you have no way of defending.
The thing is, if they get on top of you, right, there's two modes here. They get on top of him and kill him, or they don't and he gets Hellfire Brew off. If they don't and he gets Hellfire Brew off, Mouse probably win. If they do, Mouse have lost their fight anyway. So what's the point in having defenses? Like, he knows that if that kind of engage with Siska happens, he's probably dead anyway. So he's going to play into the fact that the more CP he has, the better it is for him. And so that's why the clockworks come out here. And also means he can cast Hellfire Brew a little bit more readily. As long as he remains safe. I mean, he's not going to remain safe here, but does get the Hellfire Brew off, Sona.
He does. PT Lam has gained a lot of health, though. They're going to go into Bongmabu. Majestic's dead. Bongmabu's still alive, though. What can Sneaky do now? He's got to try and take down the Sky, but the Sky is falling on top of their faces. Bora Barrage comes out as well from Bongmabu. He's still alive! Survives through the entirety of the fight. It's an ace for Snow Tsunami, and they'll take the Kraken as well.
It was very, very close there. Hellfire Brew did a lot of damage, but it was a timely Crucible, and obviously a really good Fountain as well as all that shielding that you are seeing picked up on both Bongmabu and PT Lamy. You got Aegis, and Aegis almost completed for Bongmabu, so they actually do have that element of defense. But if Majestic had survived a little bit longer to get some more basic attacks off or some Achilles shots, then maybe they actually would have had the edge there. But that was just a very, very close team fight where Sneaky, having used a Rose offensive to get away just before that broke out, had he had one more Rose offensive charge, Sona, might have been able to execute Bongmabu there and turn onto PT Lam, both of which were sub 5% HP. It's these really tiny things that often make a huge difference.
Definitely, the minuscule things can make the biggest difference, and that's exactly what happened there. Now, the question is, can Mouse defend this Kraken? We've already seen one Kraken go down. Mouse got that, and Snow Tsunami were able to defend. This time, it's a little bit of a different scenario, because Snow Tsunami looking once again for that engage. Here they come, Arcane Passage in. Majestic is the target. He needs to get away from Bongmabu, but he can't. He's dead, and Bongmabu is cleaning up house now. Sneaky trying to do what he can onto PT Lam, but it's not going to be a huge amount. PT Lam will survive for a long time. Get the wall. Crucible used as well. PT Lam now dead. Bongmabu, the next target for Sneaky, but he can't get on towards that Sky as quickly as he'd like, and the Sky has fallen on Mouse's faces. As Snow Tsunami are going to take the base, they'll take both the Crystal Turrets, and they'll take the game and equalize it at 1-1 against mousesports.
They will indeed, and Snow Tsunami very solidly able to secure that fight with Majestic, again, not being able to cast that Hellfire Brew. That is one of the problems with CP Ringo, especially when you don't really run a huge amount of peel for him, that if you don't manage to cast the Hellfire Brew, that's kind of 90% of your kit out the window. You kind of lose your entire impact in a team fight in that particular respect. And Siska had made a couple of these plays previously. He knew what they needed to do to win these fights, and if they made it happen, almost 100% of the time, they ended up coming out the victors. So as long as they took out Majestic before Hellfire Brew went down, it always seemed to work out in their favour. It was a very good game from Snow Tsunami, though. We've got one more in this series to determine the victor.
That we have. We're going to hand it back across towards our analyst to break it down, but we'll be right back with Game 3 in just a couple of minutes, guys. Make sure you stay tuned.
All right, we got our first. Well, actually, no, this is our second Game 3 of the day, but it feels like our first. That took a while.
It did.
Especially because, actually, no, I know why it feels like our first, because there's a 12-minute game in our first best of 3.
That's true. It was fast.
So let's break this one down a little bit more, though. Ringo, I feel like we can agree there were moments where it worked a lot better than the one that we saw earlier, where it was utilized properly, where, there was a threat from Lance and Blackfeather, he stayed very safe in the back line, used his ult. There's also moments where, because they gave Lyra over, he could not get his ultimate off. So it was a tough game. I feel like right at the end there was a moment that you talked about, though, which is exactly what Ringo should not have been doing.
Yeah, so we talked a lot about the importance of Ringo's positioning in the late game and getting Hellfire Brew off successfully without getting jumped and dove on is incredibly important. If the enemy team is throwing out constant flares to try to find where you're at, you don't actually have to step into the flare vision. And this isn't just something that we saw Ringo do. This happens a lot, where flares will go down, but instead of just waiting outside of the vision radius for it to disappear, or we're kind of relocating around it, they just walk into it. It's almost like they feel like they have to, and they did not know where Ringo was. That's why they kept stepping back, and they kept going like over and over again back to that bush. And it was kind of like, where's Ringo? Where's Ringo? And then all of a sudden, as soon as he appeared, you saw them make the call. They pulled the trigger, dove, and killed him. If he would have stayed back at least till the flares ran out, and then they set up a dive from Ringo's side of the equation, they had a lot more chance to be successful at that point.
It's not much more to add. I mean, it's exactly as you said, when they knew where Ringo was. Well, it's not true, because there were some moments where Snow decided to take fights that weren't on their best footing, and that's when they started to lose the game. But the moment they took the engagements on their terms, everything was working for them. So I want to give huge credit to Sasiska this game, because he had to have been communicating with his team, because every single time the portal went down, Vox was right through the backside. That last fight, Bongmanbu was right through the portal instantly, and he dropped it right next to Ringo. So what could Majestic have done other than just wait for that to happen and then try to fight around it? It was just a great execution by Snow.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to do another vote, seeing as we're heading into a game 3, ladies and gentlemen. Type !vote followed by MOUZ, Mouse, or Tsunami in the Twitch chat to cast your vote for who you think's going to take this series home. Earlier we saw 50-50. To be honest, I'm still kind of feeling...
It was 50-50?
That's reasonable, yeah.
Okay.
Like right down the middle.
I like that. There's balance in all things. Oh, Twitch chat.
All right, so we should be ready for the draft pretty soon. What are you guys expecting to change or maybe even stay the same in this third draft? Are there picks that people really just want to be on with these teams?
I think a lot of it actually came down more to decision-making and mechanics in the game. So they can continue kind of drafting similarly, things that they feel that they are comfortable on. But, like, finish off targets, like Blackfeather we saw, he just changed his mind a lot, like just didn't kill the Vox, went on to the Sky. Like, a lot of in-the-moment decision-making was costing them. So I think as long as they continue to stay on some comfort picks, it's still that 50-50 swing either way.
Yeah. I think Blackfeather is an interesting one to talk about because he really cannot be target agnostic. Like, he needs to pick someone to focus down, especially because he stacks up and gets more powerful on a certain target over time. And what we saw was kind of the swapping in and out of who's the threat closest to him from both Vox and Sky, who are very mobile.
You know what it felt like? And I'd be curious to really find this out. Like, who's making shot calls for the team? Because Sneaky himself could be trying to do too much in these fights and then losing focus of actually what he needs to do, which is focusing the target down. But maybe we talk with him about that later. Moving on here into the draft, though, we got the Adagio right off the bat for Mouse. So, I mean, we've seen the Adagio Blackfeather. That was something that was people were very comfortable on.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't take Blackfeather away, that is an option. Do they have the draft on the side of Mouse Sports? But Tsunami does get rid of the Kestrel as per usual. So with her off the table, we still have a few power picks like the Samuel being able to come on. This means that Blackfeather won't be picked up. We did see mousesports run the Adagio, the Blackfeather, the Fortress. This could be very, very similar to Game 1, which they had a pretty successful game. It wasn't quite as clean. We talked a little bit about some of those decisions being needed to tighten up. But if they do, it could be a pretty dominant comp to go with again.
Lance could be kind of trouble here, though, right? Because you just knock Fortress and Blackfeather away when they dive in.
Yeah, I mean, Lance...
Rose offensive over the wall.
Yeah, I mean, you can Rose offensive as long as you time it. You can reflex the Githian wall as well. So there are a couple of things to do there, but I think it's more about just the pressure you're able to put on with that type of comp. They decide that Arden's the better pick right now, though, instead of going for that Fortress.
I mean, Arden really enhances everything from every single part of this team. If you drop a Gauntlet, they're caught inside. Nice, easy verse to come out of Adagio. They have to think about reflexes if they're fighting in there. Like, what are we going to burn it on? And then, of course, just giving a Vanguard to Blackfeather when he's going ham, that really just turns him up a couple notches.
Yeah, I do agree. But we also see the Vox pickup as well coming from Tsunami. They like this bit of a trio of picks. Constantly seeing this Rome Lance coming through on the side of Europe today. Not something I think I maybe expected to see as heavily of when you have some other Rome options out there, but they seem to like it right now.
It's interesting for sure. I'm also kind of surprised we're seeing Vox so much today. I guess maybe other things becoming weaker, perhaps, is why he's risen back into the meta. But it's been working out actually quite well.
Yeah, definitely. Mobility's prized possession in Vainglory.
Indeed it is. All right, we're on to the fold, ladies and gentlemen, from mousesports versus Snow Tsunami. This is Game 3 of the series. Whoever wins it will be moving forward to Day 2 and getting a chance to play in the semifinals, or maybe even make it all the way. Let's find out who's going to do it with Excountrel and Sona.
Absolutely. I'm interested about this Vox resurgence as well. My only sort of theories behind it is that Kestrel now is a little bit weaker weapon power just because of the way the active camo works, and with the resurgence of Blackfeather that makes it maybe slightly harder to get away from him, because obviously your cast animation of Glimmer Shot means that you just become an easy target for basic attacks from him, and then Vox has got Sonic Zoom, so you can kind of kite against Blackfeather slightly easier. That would be my theory, Sona. I'm not totally sure as to why Vox is kind of seeing a massive resurgence, but that's where I would be sitting with it at the moment anyway.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you. I think Vox is always... He is definitely a comfort pick with a lot of these European players. Everyone loves Vox, but I think also having that little bit of extra mobility, having the ability to kite, and having the flexibility of going crystal or weapon power when the need arises is quite strong as well. You can pick him quite early in a draft and not put yourself in an awful position for the rest of the draft, which is something people don't always think about because we look at the game as it unfolds later on. King's going to take a bit of pain here, actually. Bong Mabu almost takes him down. Sneaky just needs one more auto attack or so to take out Bong Mabu. And if we look over to the other side of the map as well, Majestic and PT Lamb are facing up. It's everyone's fighting at the same time. Sasiska should be the first to fall here, but look at PT Lamb. He's going to have to retreat away from Majestic, and actually Sasiska and Bong Mabu will get themselves away. Now, is Majestic going to try and rotate and get down on towards Bong Mabu and Sasiska? He can do it. The rest of his team is looking for the chase as well. Sneaky goes in with the boots, will get the Vanguard as well. Does steal away the tree end, and Bong Mabu's going to get jumped on by Majestic. So Sisko's burning for all of his life, and he'll be the first to fall, and now PT Lamb gets jumped on as well. Will be able to get himself away, but first blood goes over to Mouse.
Yeah, mousesports running tried and tested with this Blackfeather composition. They have got the Adagio this time round too, and like Humanist Dan Fuji was saying, the Arden pick really does accelerate a lot of the sort of abilities of this composition. You can speed Blackfeather up with Vanguard, you can lock people in with the Gauntlet, loads of things that Arden does here, as PT Lamb does go down, and unfortunately Sasiska again unable to land the crucial Impale, which I'm not sure how much impact it would have had anyway.
Not a huge amount of impact indeed. It just heard about the fan votes. No Tsunami taking the lead here after they won the second game. It's 60% to them, 40% to Mouse. So I think our fans, the guys watching, are a little bit biased towards whichever team won the last game. Because every time we've had this, like Team Secret won the second game, guys, they're going to win. Or Snow Tsunami won the second game, guys, they're going to win. In the second game of Team Secret's game, they were still the favourites for some reason. That's true, but it is Team Secret, and yeah, true. Win. Team Secret just has a lot of fans. At the end of the day, the guys watching have a better prediction percentage than I do, so I can't really complain. That's very true. I mean, as me as well. I think the chat knows more than I do. To be fair, Majestic gets locked up here, Sona. That he does, and he's gonna fall already. Snow Tsunami getting their first kill in response to the early two coming out from Mouse. Now the question is, what can Sneaky do? Trying to position himself aggressively onto Bongmandu and Sasiska, but he might just go into the enemy jungle and try and take away some camps. However, there aren't any waiting for him there just quite yet. Yeah, Hammer King's forced out here. Bongmabu and Sasiska with that small range advantage that they're having. Obviously, against the early game of Adagio 2, you have that sort of damage pressure as well. Emma King going to be forced out, and Sneaky is as well. Now, Emma King by himself. Yeah, it looks like he is going to go down. Got rooted on the scout trap. Sasiska has no mercy whatsoever. PT Lamb got forced away by Sneaky and Majestic, but now 3 members of Snow Tsunami can look for this. They spot them out with a flare. PT Lamb off towards the top side needs to be a little bit careful as to how he engages. Sasiska has to be that front line, has to be the tank. Githian Wall comes out. Majestic's just left that Adagio for dead. He's going to back straight away and see if they can get Sneaky out as well. I don't think they're going to be able to get him anywhere away from this one as he falls as well. 3 quick kills for Snow Tsunami as they turn the game on its head. Nothing that they can do to contest outright in terms of global objectives right now. There's a very, very low stacked gold mine, so there isn't much point in doing that in particular. PT Lamb's going to start to push towards this turret here. And looks like the rest of No Tsunami right now, they're just going aggressive in the enemy jungle. They're looking to capitalize on their advantage. They're not going to take the minion mine, probably a little bit too risky, but they will group up with the rest of their squad. that they will. Quick kill for them as well onto King, taking him down. So going to go back by up their second sort of round of items. Haven't quite completed them yet, but Bombaboo looks to be building up towards the Shatterglass. PT Lamb probably going to go Solar Blaze. You could of course go Breaking Point as well. Looks much more like a Breaking Point with that Blazing Salvo. They get another kill. They do lose one member in response as well though. mousesports able to capitalize on at least one kill there. Do take down Majestic, but no Tsunami at the moment, definitely in the better position in this game. They've got better scaling in my opinion, although Adagio can do a lot of work late game. Samuel and Vox are so powerful if they get rolling.
Yeah, I definitely think that Snow Tsunami seem to have the sort of ticket and how to cover this Black Feather quite readily. And I agree, they have got the better scaling in that respect. Bombaboo also seems to be doing some serious work, but as I said, that she does get taken down by Majestic, who's gone for a very, very, very early Serpent's Mask, literally forgone everything else.
I don't know what you mean, man. He's got Swift Shooter. What more do you need? Extra attack speed, extra lifesteal, extra weapon power, extra kills. That's all Majestic needs. And he definitely needs extra kills because he's sitting on 1 and 2 at the moment, which is not herb score for a Black Feather.
Absolutely. Now, Siska and PT Lamb going to be pushing up this turret here. They have managed to siege a little bit onto this tier 1. Looks like mousesports are trying to make a catch here, or just to apply some pressure to lane, but Siska is there to protect his carry.
Yeah, King doesn't have 6 yet either, so doesn't have the gauntlet. Now, Siska does need to be a bit cautious. Good Githyan Wall will knock back all of the members of Mouse and stop them being able to advance any further. But they do have a mediocre size wave here if they want to try and take this tower down. Bombaboo comes in to clear it up. Malice and Verdict and the Drifting Dark just clears away waves in an instant.
Really. So, let's take stock of where we are in terms of items and where we're going to be going in terms of items, as it actually looks like Mouse have managed to sneak this gold mine. Looks like it's going to be either a Frostburn or a Shatterglass first for Bombaboo. Probably imagine that Frostburn would be the item he would consider, especially since it's kind of the sort of pattern they've gone for. I say that Siska is going to get stunned up, as is Bombaboo here.
Bombaboo has fallen to Siska, the next target. Majestic should be able to dive this one. Society doesn't want to go in with that Rose offensive. They do lose their minion mine, so these minions are going to be a little bit stronger pushing into them. But they're going to just go into the Snow Tsunami jungle and take away as much as they want.
Absolutely, so they seem to have, with a couple of key engages, given themselves a slight edge here. They sort of edged out to 400 gold. They're going to take away the minion mine as well. Majestic, taking the early damage, seems to be putting on enough pressure to those squishies, who's actually got a Shatterglass of Bombaboo, so just valuing the raw damage output and range advantage that they have. I think this Serpent's Mask could be pretty important though, because it's giving Majestic a real damage threat to both PT Lamb and Bombaboo at this point in the game.
It is. They're going to go in for the fight once again. Bombaboo is the first target. Look at how low he is. He'll get taken out. The final auto attack from Sneaky doing work. Majestic getting bounces onto him with that resonant. Sneaky heals himself up with a gift of fire and keeps himself alive. There is the fountain as well. Majestic going to be healed up with that one. PT Lamb is the new target. No gauntlet available, of course. King 40 seconds away from having that cooldown up, so they can't go for anything more out of the fight.
Absolutely. mousesports now. They're starting to push this wave. Can Snow Tsunami do anything? Do they need to do anything at this point in time? Is it not just better than for potentially just to hold back, try and relax as much as possible, get towards these big ticket items? I think next item choice for Bombaboo might be something along the lines of an Eve of Harvest. So maybe they just wait. They wait it out, just try and defend as much as possible, clear waves. They don't need to force anything at this point in time, I think so.
I totally agree. I think you can just wait out and see how the game goes. Majestic's going to try and force something onto PT Lamb, though. Here comes the Siska. There's a great buff that you can get on that Black Feather Vanguard with the boots as well. Gets you right onto that backline if you can get there. The problem's going to be, of course, trying to get through Siska when he's got that Githyan wall up. And Majestic at the moment doesn't have enough damage to really melt through his opponents. It's building up towards a Shiver Steel and has a Serpent's Mask, but he needs to get to the point where he can really just burst out PT Lamb if he gets that sort of opportunity.
Absolutely. So Siska misses the Impale once more. I feel like I've said that quite a few times, but the poke from Bombaboo will force mousesports back a little bit. Mousesports will struggle to siege here with 2 melee. Probably not going to get the most joy going straight under turret.
It's not the best idea to completely dive a turret when you Going to play up against Snow Tsunami. Triple Impale comes out. Wait for it as well. Going to catch onto Sneaky. They do still have the burst here and the Gauntlet and the Rose Offensive, so they've got everything available, and they're going to turn their attentions towards the gold mine because they know that Wait for it is down.
Yes, absolutely. The Wait for it being down pretty key here, so they can get away with securing this global objective quite nicely. Put a lot of pressure onto this tier 1 though, and it looks like Sneaky's going to try and defend it with his life. That will stop this tower going down, so all in all a big win here for mousesports over Snow Tsunami. Majestic picked up the Atlas Pauldrons too, so he's in a pretty solid position to deal with specifically PT Lamb at this point in time. That's probably where his target is going to end up being, with just the Shatterglass being there for Bombaboo at this point in time.
mousesports once again looking for the push. They don't have good siege. They don't have the ability to poke their enemies down very effectively when they're underneath turrets, so it's all going to be about a big team fight leading into turret kills. The King overextending slightly will Vanguard away. But yeah, neither of these teams really... Actually, no. I speak a lie. Snow Tsunami have great siege. You know, you've got Samuel and Vox, which is really, really powerful, and they've already got this turret down quite low. Mouse are never going to be able to win a fight unless they get a good fight like this beforehand. Snow Tsunami is target with the Gauntlet. Fountain does come out there from Sisiska to keep them alive, but now Mouse not able to capitalize on that Gauntlet, which was pretty well placed in all honesty.
Sisiska's just given up trying to hit impales normally. He's now going to impale his own turret. That's a structure he can hit. He's pretty happy with that. I say that, Majestic actually gets hit by Sisiska Impale.
Majestic's going to put the on point down as well. They do get a kill off towards the backside. We saw Bongmaboo just getting taken out. Majestic trying to dive onto PT Lam. He gets him with the final proc of the Rose Offensive. Takes him down, and now King and Sneaky can look towards the turret. Sneaky will melt through it quite quickly, and King can tank it pretty effectively as well. So this is going to be the turret falling. They can probably get onto Sisiska here as well, who's not in the best of positions. Scythian Wall will knock them back. They just need to get a slow off. They decide they don't want to get anything more out of it, and will just take the turret, take a couple of kills for themselves as well. And Mouse looking on the ascension in this game.
They are indeed. They seem to have the damage that is needed to give themselves the potential win here. And remember, this is going to be for the deciding match of this best of 3. The winner will go through to tomorrow, and Snow Tsunami will want to end a run of poor form. They have never really found that mojo that made them so sort of, I guess, such a threat in the Spring Live Championships. They have never seemed to recover to the levels that they were previously. It's been a real issue for them, Sona, to be honest.
No Tsunami looking to see if they can get back into it. It's a hard road for them now because Mouse have actually got into a really good position in this game. 3,000 gold up. They're starting to complete their second round of items. You know, Atlas on Majestic. You've got Alternating Current and Broken Myth finished on Sneaky, who's 5-1 on this Adagio, and then King, Fountain, and Atlas as well. Just really strong position. You really, if you're playing as Snow Tsunami here, you want crits, and all your gameplay is around PC Lamb getting some good crits off in the fight and getting Majestic low enough for Bongmaboo actually to wipe him off.
Yeah, totally on board with that line of thinking. With the double Tyrant's monocle, you want to make sure that you're just basically extending the fight as long as possible so that crits can start racking up. He's actually picked up a weapon infusion here, so he's pretty sure in the next few minutes a big fight is going to take place, and that makes a lot of sense. He actually gets the steal. Sisiska gets the steal there, Sona.
Sisiska stole it away so nicely, and now we're going to look for the engage. The Gauntlet comes out, Sneaky's off towards the backside of this fight. It's going to join up quite late. Oblivion comes out. PC Lamb goes low, will get taken down by Majestic and Sneaky in combo, and now they're going to put their focus onto Bongmaboo. Sneaky kept himself alive. Fountain has already been used here by King. No Fountain available either for Sisiska. They might actually go for the dive here. Impale comes out, Scythian Wall knocks him back. Going for the turret instead. Good wave clear from Bongmaboo, and Sisiska will stop them being able to take it down. Sneaky's going to fall, but here comes Majestic trying to get on towards that. Samuel's not going to have enough damage, nor is King. You must expect King to fall here as well. Bongmaboo and Sisiska defend it in a 2v3, although Bongmaboo got taken out by King. Then he jumps across the wall with a blood for blood. I thought King was going to go down, but he made a superb play to take out Bongmaboo and keep himself alive.
He did indeed there, Sona, and actually now Snow Tsunami looking like they are stabilizing PT Lamb working towards probably his second turret. He's already picked up an Aegis, so has a defense against some of the key skills from Majestic. Against that Gauntlet 2, we're seeing Bongmaboo's picked up the Broker Myth there, working towards the Eve of Harvest, getting towards these areas where big, high-level damage is coming out now for Snow Tsunami. They just need to start getting pressure onto these structures. Majestic has picked up his Breaking Point, has picked up a Shiver Steel, so actually, he's kind of entering a late-game Blackfeather build at this point. I think both teams are poised in a good position to try and take this fight. I think the next couple of team fights are going to be really defining, especially this first Kraken.
First Kraken is always a big move in these games, but I think because these teams are so close at the moment, it plays a vital role for both of them. If they're able to get on towards that Kraken, if they're able to clear out, there's a final scout trap they haven't spotted. Oh, sneaky scout trap. I assume by Sasiska just underneath the Kraken, they're not going to be taken out by Mouse, so they always will have vision on it if it's if Mouse do decide to start it up. So
absolutely, so they do have that. Unless they sort of pull it out, I guess that could be a way. As long as no one steps on the scout trap, they could potentially get away with it. They could obviously clear it out themselves and then just wait. Looks like they are going to start to pressure. They aren't going to proc the scout trap, obviously, because Kraken won't proc it themselves. And now it's just mousesports playing sort of tic-tac-toe, dancing game. The Gauntlet, whoa, completely fluffed here.
Completely fluffed indeed. Demon King's going to try and get some more damage down. PT Lamb has fallen, though Oblivion and Burst will come out. Sasiska takes the brunt of the pain. Majestic trying to turn his attentions towards that Lance on point. There's the Rose offensive as well, and they'll take him out. They'll take the turret as well. 2 kills. Bongmaboo, the last man standing here for Snow Tsunami. The Fountain will come out as well, just to protect Majestic. And now they'll turn their attentions across towards the Kraken. There is still that scout trap. It is still sneaking its way underneath that Kraken. They do know this has started, but I don't think Bongmaboo can do anything about it.
Yeah, they shouldn't be able to contest this, to be completely frank with you. Bongmaboo probably more content with just trying to clear the waves at this point in time, and mousesports will get that regen buff from the Kraken too. That'll heal them up quite nicely. They can go to the shop. They're probably going to want to make the final push here, Sona. This probably is going to be this attempt at winning the game outright for mousesports. I've got to give it over to Sneaky. He's done an excellent job on this Blackfeather, looking for those executing kills. Bongmaboo without the Frostburn, it doesn't feel like they have that same level of appeal they had previously with the Samuel, and it looks like this is what they are struggling with. Frostburn, I actually think, is more core in this particular instance for Samuel than it would be in a lot of other scenarios, and it also helps you slow for damage output for PT Lamb. But here comes the start of the siege. Is this the beginning of the end for Snow Tsunami's chances to win this best of 3?
I think you have to expect it to be. You know, Mouse have won out the last 3 or 4 team fights pretty easily without actually Snow Tsunami finding an answer to it. And the key is adaptation. You know, if you're not adapting to the way the enemy team's playing, like that, impales in misses, wait for it comes out as well. Majestic's just going to jump onto the back line. A great double stun with the Gauntlet will take out the remaining members of Snow Tsunami. They get the turret, only Sasiska left alive. He has nothing he can do. The burst will fall as well, and the song will be sung here for Mouse. They're going to take it 2-1 over Snow Tsunami. The Kraken will be able to take the base. Sasiska tries to retreat away, but it's going to be 2-1 for mousesports over Snow Tsunami as they go through to day 2.
Yeah, that right there was just a perfect symphony of abilities used. Like you said, that Gauntlet, the wait for it landing across, I think, 3 people, which allowed a multi-man Rose offensive doing huge amounts of damage for Majestic over there. These guys had an excellent game. Give all credit to them. They have played fantastic. Mousesports really making good use of Blackfeather. I believe they played it every single game there, and Blackfeather seems to be back in a big way, Sona.
Back is back.